But this is more of a natural thing since liquid smoke, who knows what they put in that stuff? I don't know. I always look at the ingredients and wonder. Maybe you guys, if you know what they put in it, you can leave a comment below and let me know. Konbanwa, Pat Tokuyama here, creator of All Day I Eat Like a Shark and the new Japanese cooking club all about plant-based Japanese food. If you'd like to see more videos like this and you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing if you want to see more videos like this. Today what we're going to be doing is using some shiokoji for a Japanese style pasta. I have all of my ingredients here ready to go as I usually do, and today what we're going to be doing is using some eggplant, nasu, some onion, some shiso for some garnish, a couple tablespoons of garlic, and a half of a zucchini and half of a squash. So these have been sitting in a marinade of about a quarter cup of shiokoji. So if you've never heard of shiokoji before, this is a condiment that is easily found online on Amazon, and if you don't have a Japanese grocery store near you, and you can use it for all kinds of different things as I have been showing you. So first thing that we need to do is actually get our vegetables cooked. I have some spaghetti that's boiling right now, and we're going to be sauteing the vegetables in some olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, of course. This is some that I got on my last trip to Italy earlier this year, so we'll just put in a few tablespoons there. And first thing that we're going to do is get the onions started, and as soon as these get a little bit soft, we'll throw in the zucchini, and then the eggplant, and then a dash of water to help steam and soften the vegetables. And the garlic will be last, followed by the tomatoes. So this is one can of cento tomatoes from Italy. Highly recommend that you try to use San Marzano tomatoes because they have more of a delicate, less sharp, slightly sweet flavor as compared to American tomatoes. So that's my perception. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below if you would agree or if you disagree. By the way, this video is brought to you by the new Japanese cooking club. If you'd like to learn how to cook plant-based Japanese foods, check it out, JapaneseCookingClub.com. So the reason that you marinate the zucchini in shiokoji is, one, it helps to dehydrate and dry out some of the natural moisture in the zucchini and the squash, so it'll cook quicker, and plus it'll bring out additional flavor into the pasta sauce, which you want. And plus the shiokoji itself is much better than salt because it has the little aspergillus enzymes and such, bringing out the natural flavors of the foods that you're using it in. So go ahead and dump this in here with the shiokoji. Make sure you get all of it. So let that cook for just a few seconds, and then we'll throw in the eggplant. Sometimes I cook this with bacon if I'm feeling in a more of a richer, meaty mood. But sometimes if I want to be healthier and not use any kind of meat, smoked paprika is a great substitute because it adds that smoky flavor that bacon often has. This is what I use for my vegan chili or vegan split pea soup. You can also use liquid smoke, which I found works just as well. Let me double check on my pasta. Okay. So that's almost done. Just let it go for another few seconds. Throw in the eggplant. By the way, this smells quite like shiokoji. If you've never smelled it before, it has a little bit of a funky taste and flavor because it is a fermented product. But it's very subtle, especially because we're going to be putting in a ton of tomatoes to really bring all the flavors together. So I'm just going to put in about a tablespoon of water. Soften up those veggies, and we can go ahead and drain the pasta. So depending on how saucy you like your sauce, you can reserve some pasta water. Usually I use about a half cup, 1/4 to a half cup, but personal preference. Today we're not going to because I like my sauces thick. All right. So now that all this is nice and softened, our hard work is almost done. We're just gonna throw in the garlic right now. Get that in there, and as soon as the garlic gets nice and aromatic, then we're going to put in a little bit of cracked pepper. You can also throw in some fresh parsley leaves if you like. If you want a little bit of more of an earthy flavor, herby flavor. We do have a little bit of this, spicy kick from the extra virgin olive oil, and I'm using 5 peppercorn blend, by the way. If you've never tried 5 peppercorn blend, highly recommended. It takes your regular freshly cracked peppercorns to a whole another level. And then I always put in about a tablespoon of sake to bring out additional umami flavor when I'm making wafu pasta. Wafu is Japanese style pasta, and that's what we're making today. So this is like my go-to summertime pasta because we're using all the summer vegetables, zucchini, Japanese eggplant, and Italian squash. So as soon as most of the liquid has reduced, then we can go ahead and drop in the tomatoes, and then we'll finish cooking the pasta in the pan. So one thing I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video is to cook your pasta just before it's al dente, because it's going to continue cooking once we add it to the pan. And it makes a big difference if you use really good quality pasta that has been, I guess, extruded or made with bronze dyes. And the way that you can tell is by looking at the surface of the pasta. It'll look like there's dust, a white dust, or some sort of a powder, but it's really just an irregular surface on the pasta that helps it to cling, or helps the sauce to cling to the pasta, and ultimately brings a lot more flavor with each bite into your mouth. I used to be all about 99 cents pasta because I like to be frugal, and I found that it tastes a little bit better when you use a higher quality pasta. Okay, so that looks pretty good to me. We're gonna go ahead and jump in the tomatoes. These cento cans always have a little basil leaf in here. If you're wondering what that was, that's the basil leaf. Always try to use whole tomatoes because generally the quality is better. At least I like to think so, because who knows what they do to these tomatoes when they chunk them up into little chunks. So we'll let this simmer, reduce and thicken up a little bit. Now put in the paprika. Just put in a few dashes. Doesn't need to be too much, otherwise it's going to be super smoky and paprika-y. And this is smoked paprika. So there's sweet paprika. If you go to Spain, I learned on my Spain trip that there's two different types of paprika. There's one picante and then one is dulce. Dulce is sweet, picante is spicy or hot. That's one of the specialty products of Spain. So let this go for about 10 minutes-ish, and then we can go ahead and drop in the pasta and it'll be ready to eat. So can't wait. See you guys in a bit. Okay guys, I am back. I'm gonna turn down the heat here. You can see that the sauce is thickened up quite nicely. And like I mentioned before, you can always thin it out with some pasta water if you want your sauce to be a little bit more saucy. And now we're just gonna add in the spaghetti noodles. Make sure that they're incorporated into the sauce. And we can go ahead and serve it after we let this cook for another minute or so. So, some suggestions if you like to modify recipes is you can add in some sausage. Hot sausage is another tasty way to add additional flavor and some meat to this meatless dish if you prefer. You can also maybe put in some cheese, pecorino, or freshly grated Parmesan, Parmigiano Reggiano. Try not to use the pre-ground stuff, since that usually has sawdust is what they call it, also known as cellulose. If you've ever looked at the ingredients of the cheese, it has cellulose listed, which is supposedly from sawdust. So cellulose is just plant fiber. It's the same stuff that you'd find in like Metamucil, which if you're having trouble with your you-know-what, then you might need some cellulose to help you with that. All right, so this looks good to me. I'm gonna turn off the heat, and what we're gonna do is go ahead and serve it. So I didn't cut up my shiso yet because I wanted to protect the color. If you know, shiso turns brown quite quickly when you cut it, oxidizes. All right, so remember, my trick to serving this pasta, or at least presentable, in a presentable way, is to twirl the dish. Just do this in a few sections. We can pick out some of the nice colored vegetables. We have some greens and some purples and some yellow. We'll make it a really nice and colorful dish. So that looks good to me. Put some right there. My favorite is can you guess which vegetable is my favorite? It's the eggplant. That's it. All right, that looks good to me. Go ahead and cover this. What we're gonna do is just roll up our shiso here. If you can't find shiso, oh yeah, I decided to go get a red one from my garden since the red one is growing just crazy. Aka shiso, that's what it's called, red shiso. It's the same stuff that they use to make umeboshi, in case you were wondering. It's also a good garnish as well, like we're doing right now. If you can't find shiso for whatever reason, you can use Italian basil. works just as well. Alright guys, here's the finished dish, my wafu pasta with shiokoji and a few other secret ingredients, or actually maybe that was the secret ingredient. So hope you guys give this a try. Let me know what you think. Questions or comments in the comments below. And if you want to see more videos like this one, subscribe if you haven't already. And other than that, see you in my next video. Jane, bye bye. So much steam in here. Alright.